Hello everyone, welcome to the BC Libraries video on the CRAAP test in action. In this video, we are going to be using the CRAAP test to determine if a website is reliable or crap. The CRAAP test is a set of criteria that guides you in evaluating internet sources. Essentially, what it does is it lets us sort the good from the crap. So the CRAAP test is actually an acronym. Each letter in CRAAP stands for something extremely important in terms of evaluating internet sources. So let's break it down. The C stands for currency. The R, relevancy. The first A is authority, and then accuracy, and finally we end with purpose. So if you're still unsure about what the CRAAP test is, or if you would like more of a breakdown for each letter, I highly recommend that you look at our website or under one of our LibGuides. Our LibGuides each have a tab called Finding Websites, and you can find some more information there about what the CRAAP test is and how to use it. So for now, let's go ahead and talk about the website we're going to be evaluating. Today we're evaluating a news article from a publication, an online publication called yournewswire.com. Now as you can see right here, the headline reads, CDC doctor, disastrous flu shot is causing deadly flu outbreak. So let's dive right in and start the CRAAP test. The first thing we need to look at is currency. That means the date. Now the date here luckily is right up here on the top. A lot of websites have it right around here at the headline. Now as of this date, we are filming this video in 2018. That means that this date, January 15th, 2018, is very recent. So easily enough, this article passes currency. But let's go ahead and check out relevancy. Now, relevancy is more about how it relates to your topic and, more importantly, is it college appropriate? So if we scroll down this article, despite all the pictures, this article is really not that long. That's not necessarily a good thing, especially because the topic is so dense. We're talking about vaccines. So there really needs to be a good depth of information. And if you look through the article, you'll see that a lot of it, especially towards the end, is very surface level. For example, right here, flu vaccines contain dangerous ingredients. That only has 2 very tiny paragraphs, and that is a huge thing to say. So there's really not much scientific evidence to support it, or scholarly analysis. That means it's not college appropriate for research, and that means it does not pass relevance. So let's move on to authority. Now authority deals with the author and the site, and are they qualified to write the article? So let's look at the top. As we can see right next to the date, there's a list of an author. That's a good thing. You always want to see a name of an author, and you can click on it. Once we do, we're taken to a list of articles Baxter Dimitri has written. That's not necessarily good enough. We need actually some information about who Dimitri is and what his background is. So let's go back. If we scroll to the bottom, notice that there is actually a little blurb about him. That's usually a very good sign. It's a good thing to see. However, if we actually read this sentence, and it's really not a long sentence, it doesn't really give us that much information about Dimitri's background, especially his educational background. Yes, we know that he's a writer and that he covers politics, business, and entertainment, but we don't know where he got his journalism degree in, how long he's been a journalist, really important information that we need in order to determine authority. So if the author doesn't have enough information about him or her, that's when you need to really look at the site in general. So the site we're looking at today is called yournewswire.com. And the first thing you should look at is if they have a section called About Us. It is there where you find out information about who they are, what their mission statement is. Now, unfortunately, in this case, as you can see, there's no section on About Us. And if you look at their contact or terms of use, there's really nothing there about who they are. If you scroll to the bottom, the only thing you find out is that they are owned by a company called the People's Voice, Inc. Nothing else is there. They do have some links to social media, and in this case, we need to do some hunting and we need to click on these links. So if we click on Facebook, we do find that they have some information about the company there. They even have a mission statement. It's good that they have it, although it's a little troubling that they don't have this on their actual website. But here's the thing about the mission statement. If we really closely read it, this first sentence right here is a huge clue about what kind of publication Yours Newswire and the People's Voice is. It says, we're here to cover the headlines the mainstream outlets shy away from. That tells us that this is not a mainstream news media outlet, which means that they're not going to be delivering the hard news like something like the New York Times, Washington Post, things like that are going to. This is going to be more along the lines of conspiracy theories and more outside the mainstream news. That can be a bad thing. Let's go back to the website. Because the site does not have this About Us on their actual website, and you actually have to hunt for it on Facebook, and the fact that the mission statement is more about them being outside the mainstream, this site does not pass authority. The author does it, nor the site. So unfortunately, it doesn't pass. So next we need to move to accuracy, and that's all about, is the information accurate and truthful? So that's where we need to look at, do they have outside links to outside sources that back up their claims? Now here's the thing, if you were to scroll on this article, you would see that they do have a couple of links. However, the more important factor in this particular article is where there are not links. What I mean by that is right here, the whole headline is about a CDC doctor saying that the flu shot is causing people to get the flu, a deadly flu, meaning causing people to die from it. The problem is that it's very general. A CDC doctor has warned. Doesn't give a name, doesn't give any kind of indication on how they got this information. That's not good. The other really bad thing is that when you scroll down and they get into how dangerous the flu vaccine really is, again, no outside links, no scientific evidence, no charts, no graphs, anything to really back up what they're saying. All they have is just some general statements about how bad it is. That is more opinion than fact. So because this article is more opinion than fact, it doesn't really give a good indication to us if this is telling the truth. So it's probably not a good idea to use this article, especially because it's scientific information. And with science, you especially need that hard evidence. Now, the other thing that we can do is we can look onto an outside source called Media Bias Fact Check to look up your news wire to see how accurate they are. So let's take a look at that site. Media Bias Fact Check is a really good resource for students to use. They look at all kinds of news sources, and they're looking at bias, and they're also looking at if they have factual reporting. Now, if you type in your news wire, you see that it has it under conspiracy pseudoscience, and under factual reporting, it's mixed. Now, this isn't necessarily a good thing. It's not at all. That means this is not a good, strong news source to use. They're more known for their conspiracy theories, and they're not known for factual reporting. This means it is definitely not a college-appropriate site, and definitely does not pass accuracy. So let's go back to the site so we can talk about purpose. With purpose, the main thing we need to look at is the domain, the actual URL at the top of the page. A good thing, or a good clue to get by it, is what the domain is. Is it a .com, a .edu, a .gov, a .org? Those can give us some big clues about the purpose of the website. Notice that this is a .com. This means that it is a commercial site, which means that it could be any kind of company. It could be a newspaper, which it is news, but it could also be selling you something. So that doesn't really give us a good indication if it's a reliable website. So that means we really need to think back to that about us. What is their mission statement? What is their actual purpose? Why are they doing this? And if you remember, we talked about how they're more about breaking the mainstream news. They want to cover sources outside of that. And we talked about them being more about conspiracy theories, just like media bias fact check. That means they're not about the hard facts. They're not about reporting just the news. And that's more appropriate in terms of college level research. So unfortunately, this also does not pass purpose. So let's sum up what we found. The CRAAP test, we found out that it does pass currency. However, it does not pass relevance. It doesn't pass authority, nor accuracy, nor purpose. That means that the final verdict for this site is that it's crap. This is not a college level appropriate site. It doesn't have good authority in terms of the author or the site itself, and it certainly doesn't really back up their claims like you'd want to see for such a claim, for such a scientific claim. So the article is crap and should not be used. So if you're a little confused still, or if you still like to get some more information, please don't hesitate to come into the library, visit our website, or call us here at this number at the reference desk. We'd be happy to help. Thanks for listening, guys.